You took the words right out of my mouth by Meatloaf. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. We are back for Jason's Sports Rundown for another week. A reminder of the show for those tuning in for the very first time. Myself, Jason, I'll be talking to you guys from 1 to 3 p.m., keeping you up to date, informed, and involved in all that's happening in the sporting world, plus keeping you up to date with your music, news, and weather, and everything that is going important around in Queensland, and that I'll make sure to keep you up to date, informed, and involved in all of that. Big sporting news stories dropping, though, in the last few days, so let's hit that first and foremost. Ryan Papenhuyzen has been granted an immediate release from his final year of his contract with Melbourne. That is not what you'd expect just coming into the November 1 deadline. It's going to be very interesting to see how November 1 kicks off in the Rugby League. As well in Rugby League, David Fifita has been let go of his Gold Coast Titans contract. He signs a 2-year deal from 2026 to 2027 with South Sydney Rabbitohs in an attempt to revive his NRL career. That is surely something. It's all happening in the NRL field at the moment. And Steve Smith, 100 in his latest Shield game. Sam Constas unfortunately had a game to forget going into his last audition for a test spot in the Ashes. Tough running for Constas, but good running for Steve Smith. On today's show, Lachlan will be giving his weekly report, see what he's up to this week. We'll be talking about Brisbane Roar. We'll be reviewing their second round in the A-League season. We'll be having an interview for you at about 1:15, 1:20 today, so make sure you stick around that. It's going to be an interview you don't want to miss. And then we'll also be having another great discussion on Formula One and how the season fares as Mexico is complete. Coming up soon, though, we got the news and weather update. But right now, you've got Rene Rapp with Messi. That was Riptide by Vance Joy. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 1:11 p.m. Let's get into your weather and news update for this week. Weather in Springfield, it's partly cloudy with a low of 16 and a high of 26. High chance of showers becoming less likely in the evening. Chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon and the evening. Possible severe with damaging winds and large hail. Right now, it's looking pretty good outside, but maybe the Weather Bureau knows something that I don't. The weather's looking pretty similar over in Ipswich. Partly cloudy, low of 15, high of 27. High chance of showers with the possible chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening as well. And warning for large hail, possibly in Ipswich as well. Toowoomba, partly cloudy with a low of 15, high of 25. Slight chance of shower in the far east, but becoming less likely in the late afternoon, evening. Near zero chance of rain elsewhere other than the east. Chance of a thunderstorm, though, in the east in the afternoon and evening is likely, and expect light winds in Toowoomba. Now on to your news. Minister vows investigation after hundreds of Queensland students taught the wrong syllabus ahead of the final exam. 9 high schools across the state found out they taught their Year 12 ancient history students about Roman Emperor Augustine Caesar instead of Julius Caesar. Maybe that's just a bit of coincidence there. The error, which was uncovered a day before the exams, means 140 students will sit an exam on a topic they have not studied. Brisbane State High School raised the alarm first yesterday. 8 more schools revealed that they were also caught up in the bungle, so a few kids going into that exam a little bit less than prepared. ARN has announced Craig Lowy Lau will take over KISS 97.3's Brisbane Breakfast Show 2026. The polarizing ex-radio host is making a shock comeback, landing a major new on-air role. The announcement marks a comeback for Lowy, who rose to fame on Hot 30 Countdown in 2006 before moving to the US to work as a comedian and writer. It has been surprising some within the industry, some say Lowy has a reputation for being difficult to work with. Lowy is aware he has big shoes to fill at KISS FM Brisbane Breakfast and paid tribute to the current host, Rob Bailey, Kip Whittingham, and Corey Oates, who will be on air until December the 12th. And former Brisbane player Reese Madison banned for 3 years after testing positive to steroids. Reese Madison, the former Brisbane Colt who transformed his body after retiring from AFL, has been hit with a huge doping ban. Matheson, who was known as the Beast or Beast Mode during his playing days, has been found guilty of using performance-enhancing drugs and suspended for 3 years. Matheson departed the Lions at the end of 2023, despite having a year left on his contract. Last year, however, the Australian Sporting Anti-Dope Authorities came calling, and Matheson did not play for his team this year because he was provisionally suspended. It has been since revealed he tested positive for a banned substance in 2024. So, a lot happening in the news at the moment. Pretty big on the Brisbane and Queensland front. Coming up soon, we'll have the interview as promised for you guys. Make sure you stick around for that. But right now, you've got Justin Bieber with Ghost. That was Hall of Fame by The Script and will.i.am. You're listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown. The time is 1:20 p.m. It's time for the weekly interview segment, and this week we are talking to a special guest. This week's guest is SENQ Knockoff Fridays presenter and someone who does know quite a bit about sport. It's Ben Davis. Hey, Ben, how are you doing today?
Hello, mate. Exciting times. Just sitting back watching possibly Australia's top order batting at the Gabba. It's Queensland v New South Wales in the Sheffield Shield, but Queensland batting at the moment, Usman Khawaja, Matthew Renshaw at the crease, followed by Marnus Labuschagne. And there's a lot of talk around that could be the top three for Australia. Will come the first test of the Ashes. So exciting times, mate.
Yeah, so, I mean, speak about that excitement. How excited are you for the upcoming Ashes? I know I'm excited. I'm sure a lot of other people are, but how are you feeling about it?
Mate, this is one of the biggest, this is the biggest rivalry in cricket, isn't it? Australia and England. Some say it's the biggest rivalry in Australia's international sport. So, super excited. Every 4 years it comes around. It's a bit like the Olympics, right? So having England out here on the back of India last summer, which we know was huge, this is just going to go to another level. So cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good. The recent announcement of not having Pat Cummins in Perth, how big of a loss do you think that's going to be for Australia?
Yeah, huge. He's the man that has got us out of trouble with the ball on so many occasions. When you need a wicket, Pat Cummins has normally been the man to do it, and he's been an inspirational leader. I mean, it was the last Ashes that he took over, and we all were wondering how was a bowler going to do that, take over the captaincy role, and still be able to pull off what he needs us to do. And he just continues to defy what everyone said that he could or could not do. So he'll be a big loss, especially, look, I mean, Scott Boland, as far as the bowling ranks come in, and that is the likely replacement. He's a different bowler to Pat Cummins. He's more of a Josh Hazlewood style. Pat Cummins can just get the ball to do things that others can't. The old ball, especially coming in at first change. So yeah, he'll be missed. His leadership. Steve Smith will take over as captain. Good captain, solid captain. In fact, probably our most successful when it comes to percentage wins. Let me check my stats, but he'd be right up there. So whilst we don't lose much as far as the captaincy role, the bowling role, Scott Boland brings something different. When you put that complete package together, that's where we might find things missing for Australia. Still, we've got the next in line to step up aren't too bad, as I said, in bowling. You've got Sean Abbott, and there's a few nibbling around the edges like Brendan Doggett, who, as far as the bowling stock's concerned, hitting form at the right time. Yeah,
definitely going to not be great to have Cummins, but I mean, Steve Smith, not only his I think win percentage, but I think his batting average is something to speak when he's as captain. So I think we'll do all right with him as the captain. The openers, I think, has been the most talked about one coming into the Ashes. Where do you kind of see that sitting? Like, is Usman definitely there? Would you have Renshaw, like, a lot of options for the opening pair?
Yeah, a lot of options. And Usman Khawaja, his position, we take it as read that is locked in. It's just who's going to open with him. Now, Marnus Labuschagne has done that, but I think universally everyone is accepting that even Marnus says batting at 3 is his preferred position, and that's where he does and will do most damage. So who opens with Usman? Now, Usman is someone who can sit there and blunt the attack, which when you've got the paceman of Jofra Archer and Wood coming in, and these blokes are electric, they are express. If he can blunt that attack and see off the new ball that allows Marnus and Steve Smith to come in with time behind them, that is Usman's job. So then who's at the other end? You don't want someone who is going to be a blunt attack instrument. You want someone who can actually take on the game. And what we've seen with Matthew Renshaw and his re-emergence over the last 12 months, and the fact that he was picked for the one-day squad and the one-day team, shows that he can accelerate the scoring when needed. The fact that he knows Usman inside and out, is opening with him for Queensland now, it's a good partnership. Jake Weatherall is the other smoky, I guess, considering that he hasn't really been mentioned in dispatches as far as international cricket until this year. His form last year started to put himself on the radar. I mean, we've seen him in Big Bash, but when it comes to red ball cricket, he can accelerate in a David Warner style innings, and that's what we're looking for. I mean, you can't replicate David Warner, but you want someone who can take on the attack and crack it open as well. Look, just on that, from the Gabba at the moment, there has been a rain delay, but they're back out batting at the moment. So Renshaw started things pretty quickly, but was on 16, but Usman has flown away to 37. So Usman can accelerate along the way as well, which is good. But Renshaw would be a good fall for him. And that's if, Australia's got how many? 26 million selectors. That's who we'd all, that we've all got an opinion, but that's, if I was asked, that's the way I'd go to. And that's not wearing just my maroon coloured glasses either.
Yeah, no, I'd probably lean to Renshaw, and I kind of want to back him too. I think a number of other players are locked in. Like you think about how many, you're not going to drop Smith, you're not going to drop Head. The bowling attacks there. You've got Alex Carey, but the other spots that people talk about, the number 3 and the number 6. Where do you think Australia would be looking in those two particular spots? Yeah,
Marnus should be batting at 3, and that's what they do with Cameron Green. I mean, now Green is an all-rounder. So, and we need, without Cummins being there, there's going to be more reliance on that all-rounder role. So it comes down to Cameron Green and Beau Webster. So Beau Webster hasn't played cricket until this match right now. He's currently playing for Tasmania, so he's missed the opening of the Shield competition because of a foot injury. But he came in and has shown his form with the ball. But Cameron Green, and this is the wild card factor, and will come down to his fitness. How much can he bowl? He's had and is coming off back injuries. He has been only allowed to bowl selectively in the earlier part of this summer. I mean, over the most part of this year since his return from injury, they haven't been bowling him. He has just been that number 3 batsman. So whoever that all-rounder is, whoever bats at 6 will have to bowl. So does that rule Green out or in? And the same with Webster as well. On a hierarchical level, Green has been in the Test team a lot longer than Webster. So maybe Webster being the last man in is the first man out, which is unlucky for him, but that's just where the squeeze is on.
Yeah, it'll be tough for either of them to miss out, but I think the importance is on their bowling. The last one I'll leave you with, what is your prediction for the series? Like, what do you think the result will be, or who do you think the player of the series would be?
Yeah, do we go Glenn McGrath-like and say 5-0 Australia? Look, I think the fact that there's a day-night test here in Brisbane, the second test, that's the pink ball test. Brisbane in December. Storms, anyone? rain anyone. So that's that especially in that late afternoon and night storms that could play a factor in a 5-0 or not having 5-0 that could end up as a draw. So possibly 3-1 Australia. Man of the series. Let me see. Man of the series. I'm going to say Travis Head. There we go.
Yeah.
If Australia ever gets into trouble, he's a man to pull us out of it. Although Steve Smith just quietly comes back after playing little or no cricket, has been living in New York, picks up a batting for New South Wales yesterday, just peels off 100 for fun. So don't worry, he's going to be coming in with devastating form against England.
Yeah, a lot of safe bets. Thank you for your time today, Ben. I know you're a busy person, but thank you for bringing your insight to the Ashes discussion.
Happy days, mate. It's like I said, it's 26 million of us have opinions, and I hope and thank you for giving me a call to put mine out there. Enjoy the rest of your day, mate.
Yeah,
let's go the Aussies.
No worries. Coming up soon is going to be the NFL Week 9 preview, but right now you've got Anna Murray, KSI and Co with Don't Play. That was Spirit by the Killers. You're listening to phoenixradio.com.au. It's Jason's Sports Rundown. It's 1:36 and we're talking about the NFL, and we have Harrison here once again. Any words from last week's prediction?
Where's Lachlan? He got the sack. You know, we can't have bad journos on this table, mate. Lachlan's tips last week, terrible, and I called him on all of them. So we're going to unpack last week's games, and I just want to throw some smoke at Lachlan because he bagged my Dolphins out, my beloved Dolphins. He said Tua's going to get kicked off the team. Mike McDaniels isn't going to be there next year. Falcons are going to destroy them. Lachlan, the Dolphins won 34-10. Tua had pink eye, threw for 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. They beat him by 24 points. The Dolphins are back. I said last week the Dolphins were going to make a comeback last week. They have. They're back.
All right, well, we'll look at the first game to talk about that's coming up this week. It's the Dolphins-Ravens that start the week. Yeah. How do you think that one's going to go?
Well, same again. I think the Dolphins just have a lot of momentum. But the unfortunate thing is the Ravens won last week too, so they'll be carrying momentum. Lamar Jackson's back this week. Look, from the sole point of me, I kind of want the Ravens to win because I have a lot of Ravens players in my fantasy team. But we're gonna stick with the Dolphins. We're gonna ride them home. But it's going to be a cracking game. You know, if Tua can play like he did last week, it's going to be very close. Last time they versed each other, it was neck and neck the whole time. I think the Dolphins won in the last few seconds. But you know, both the Ravens and Dolphins should be better than where they are this year. Very woeful to start the season, and now they're turning it around. So it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, it'd definitely be good to see both these two teams turn it around. Early on Monday morning, it's the Texans and the Broncos. How do you think that one will go?
See, I don't know. You know the curse, the CJ Stroud curse ever since he little broed Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
He hasn't really been very good. The Broncos are a team that are really good. I think they're leading their division right now, but I just can't pick them. I started watching the NFL when it was the Russell Wilson era of the Broncos, and they were just tragic.
Yeah.
So in my mind, they're both bad teams, but the Broncos should get the job done. If you're Lachlan, you'd probably be tipping the Texans to win by 40 points. Do not listen to that man.
Yeah, definitely an interesting matchup. Nonetheless, I think the bigger matchup of this week is at Monday. It's at 7:25 p.m. It's the Bills and the Chiefs at the Bills Stadium in Highmark.
So it's regular season, so Bills will get the job done. You know what I mean? The Bills is such a good team, and the thing that annoys me about the Bills is they can never execute, right? They'll kill it for all season long. Come finals, they get beaten by the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs all the time in the regular season. I hope the Bills win. I hope they flog the Chiefs. But I want to see the Bills win. You know, I'm not a big Bills guy, but they've had their time. They need a Super Bowl ring. They haven't won one before. Josh Allen's turning it on. James Cook is killing it in the running back. They don't have very good receivers, but, you know, with Josh Allen's arm, you can make magic happen with any sort of player on the field. Heck, put me wide receiver and the Bills will still win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Bills in Buffalo too are a pretty hard team to beat.
Oh, and just the weather advantage they get. I know it's not winter over there, but, you know, come 2 months' time and, you know, there's snow falling down and the fans are throwing snowballs at the players on the pitch. Like, same again, like I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. We're in the Bills division. Miami, it's hot all the time.
Yeah.
We go to Buffalo, it's like negative 10 degrees. We suck. We'll never win with the Bills in our division. I'm gonna say it right here. I'm gonna make a petition, and I want everyone to jump on board. The Dolphins have to move divisions. I'm starting it. It's got to happen.
The whole division. The division alignment sometimes makes no sense.
Well, here's another thing. I don't want to steer away from the NFL, but, with the rugby league expanding, there's been talks of doing rugby league divisions. Do you think it'll work? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the rugby league divisions.
I don't think in rugby league it would work. I feel like it only kind of makes sense in the the American sort of field, but I think in rugby league it wouldn't. It would be a very odd thing to picture, having a Queensland field or
that's what I mean. The Broncos,
and then a Sydney
Cowboys
field, and then that would be like half the competition.
And then there's just the outsiders field. It's like the Storm and the Warriors and Papua New Guinea. It's just like the people who have to spend airfare points to make the game. Look, by 3:00 this afternoon, there'll be a petition to get the Dolphins out. So I want all your listeners to sign it. We're going to make this movement. We're going to push for it, and it's going to happen.
We'll leave it one last game. Commanders, Seahawks on prime time. How do you think that one's going to fare?
Is Jaden Daniels back? I don't know. The Seahawks quarterback, what's his name? He was at the
Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. Why the Vikings let him go? I don't know. It was a working formula. I know they had young guns there at the Vikings, and now he's hurt. And then Carson Wentz, who's played for 17 million teams, and he's probably played for Queensland schoolboys as well. He's played in every team. You know what I mean? It's Sam Darnold's killing it for the Seahawks. I'm happy for the Seahawks. Commanders, without Jaden Daniels, there's sort of nothing. So my pick is Seahawks. If you're a tipping man, you'd believe everything I said. I think every game I picked last week happened. Don't listen to Lachlan. My final word. He said the Jets would get smoked. The Jets won. He said the Vikings would win comfortably. Vikings lost. He said the Dolphins would get destroyed. Dolphins won. Listen to me. That's all I'm saying, Jason. Come to me for tips.
Well, thank you for coming on, Harrison. Coming up soon, we'll be talking about Brisbane Roar once again. And right now, you've got One Direction with One Thing. That was Sour Candy by Lady Gaga and Blackpink. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 1:49 p.m. And we're going to get into talking about the Brisbane Roar now in their round 2 clash with the Wellington Phoenix. A number of interesting moments throughout the match. First being the first goal for the Roar in the game, 42nd minute. Vidic managed to have a brilliant goal-scoring opportunity, and he capitalised. Unfortunately, we saw 2 goals go in the way of the Phoenix, one being the equaliser, one being the eventual winner. In the 96th minute, nonetheless, it was heartbreaking stuff in that second half and towards even the last third of the game. It was brutal stuff for the Brisbane Roar and for the fans watching at home with the game down in New Zealand, but nonetheless it was a pretty good effort and a few tough results are definitely going to come this season, and that was just one of them. Another game too where the Roar were outbeaten with their possessions count, 64.5% possession for the Phoenix, so they well and truly weren't having the way of the ball Roar, and that might be something for the coach, Michael Valkanis, and the other staff to be looking at how Brisbane Roar can better maintain possession of the ball, but also make sure that they're having more time in possession than the opposition are. So we'll take a listen and talk about these big moments, and nothing bigger for the Brisbane Roar in this one than their goal in the 42nd minute mark.
Injury to Tim Payne is the only change to note. There's a ball over the top. James has been beaten. And Justin Vidic opens the scoring for the Brisbane Roar.
Brilliant goal from Vidic, and Brisbane Roar make it 1-0. It was a fight back, though, that lasted a long time for the Phoenix, but they finally equalised it, 76th minute mark.
And Hield's delivery from deep. Eze double teamed. Push and hit it back in. And Piper. And it's found its way into the back of the net. And I believe it's Kazuki Nagasawa with the final touch. Piper's strike seemed to be making its way across the line. Nagasawa forced it home. Wellington get themselves back into the match.
And it was an eventual winner that came the Phoenix's way. It took them 6 minutes into added time to get their way, but they did snag the winner in the 96th minute mark.
Unless Wellington can find the way back. Piper's been central. Armiento, he went close as well. Armiento! And he's done it in the back post! Carlo Armiento scores against the Brisbane Roar. 2 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, brilliant work from the Phoenix, and they well and truly fought back in that game, and heartbreaking stuff for Brisbane Roar. As we always do in these reviews, I like to listen to and get the thoughts that Michael Valkanis has. I think he's a pretty open book in the way that he speaks, and he really does give you a fair assessment of the game. So first clip to take a listen to is how he felt on the changes that were forced onto the Brisbane Roar that they had to make late in the second half.
No, I think we were forced to make a couple of changes, and this changed the game. There's no doubt about it, because I think up until the 60th minute, there was also another good possibility where I thought George Varakos should have finished, and maybe if he scores there, becomes 2-0, it's a different game. And I thought those forced changes didn't help, and we had to change a lot of things around, which didn't help the team. But in saying that, we need to quickly move on from this one. It was like a game of two halves, really well. 60 minutes, and after that it was a different game.
Yeah, tough going for Brisbane. The changes late didn't help, and it was very well a 60 kind of 30 sort of split in the game that Brisbane dominated 60 minutes in, but from there it was tough sailing. And one controversial moment that Michael Valkanis was asked about was what the red card, or what should have been a red card in his opinion.
There's no VAR? Is there no VAR? Because when I look at it on the screen now, and what I saw from the ground, it was that's a red card. But we're the physical team. I forget this. The word out there is we're the physical team, and sometimes maybe they forget to look at what's happening to us. I don't want to speak about that. That's not to blame, but it would have had a consequence on the game and the way they would have gone about what they would have had to do if they lost the player. But that's. Look, I don't even want to discuss this anymore because it's becoming a weekly thing. What they should do is just make a TV show like they do in Europe, and they critique refereeing decisions and you make them accountable.
Yeah, interesting thoughts on what was a controversial moment, and what should have been or what shouldn't maybe have been a red card. Valkanis made his opinions known. He brought up an important thing there at the end as well, that maybe should we have the referees, we look at all their decisions weekly and we hold that accountable. Is that something that would really benefit in the A-League? Would it benefit in the NRL? That's something that I really feel like across sports could be a really cool thing, and it's not targeted at referees. We know the job that they do. It's difficult, you're going to make wrong calls, but at the same time, the ones that they miss and these big ones that they miss, you need to be found accountable for the decisions, like we all are with everything we do. You have to hold people accountable for the decisions that they make, even given that some of these decisions are never the easy ones to make. But nonetheless, a tough weekend for the Brisbane Roar. They're going to be hoping to bounce back in round 3. And so far, though, still not a bad start to the year for them. And they'll be in a fairly good position, even out of what was a loss down in Wellington. Coming up soon, we're going to see what Lachlan has in store for us this week. No doubt it's going to be something just as good as last week was. But right now, you've got Mumford Sons and Pharrell with Good People. That was Lifestyle by Jason Derulo and Adam Levine. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au, and this is Jason's Sports Rundown. Time is 2:02 p.m. We're going to get into what Lachlan's got in store for us this week, and it's a very exciting one, and lovely when it's we still hit the sporting theme. So the Australian Women in Hockey League is almost underway again, and the Brisbane Lightning are looking to build on their silver place finish from last season, and with their first clash just a week away, Lachlan Eels headed down to Ice World Ice Ring at Boondall during one of the Lightning's scrimmage games to talk to the head coach and a number of players. We'll see what he got up to.
Tonight, I am on the north side of Brisbane, in Boondall, at the Ice World Skating Rink, which is home to the Brisbane Lightning ice hockey team. And behind me right now on the ice, the women's team are playing a scrimmage against a local club as part of their preseason preparations. The season gets underway for them next weekend, the 8th and 9th of November, right here at Ice World against the Perth Inferno. The Lightning were silver medalists in this competition last year, and they are eager to improve that silver to gold, and they believe they have the ability to do just that. Earlier this evening, I sat down with head coach Matt Meyer, captain Kelly Costa, defenders Amanda Dixon and Madison LaPlante, as well as goalie Katie Meyer, to talk about this upcoming season.
Obviously, last year made it all the way to the grand final, fell up just short. How confident are you guys that you guys can get back there again this year?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to win it all this year, and we've got a great team, we've got a great group of girls, and it's time that Brisbane finally took home the trophy.
Speaking as a defender, and I think that's the biggest strength in our team at the moment because we have some of the best defenders in the league, I am extremely confident.
And where do you guys think that you've improved from last year to this year?
Ebbs and flows in seasons, right? Personnel change all the time. I think the league is going to be different this year as a whole. I think for us, our focus just needs to be on what we do as a team. I think we've been a very system-strong team. I think we've executed really well. We've been a very defensive team. And this year for us, the delta is going to be in our scoring, our ability to score. Gone out and got an import. About to announce the signing of a second import. So that's going to make a huge difference for us, having that scoring caliber and putting more pucks in the net. This year for us, a big difference. We've lost Imogen, who was arguably the best goalie in the league last year, and her protege, Katie, is going to come up and she's got big boots to fill. But I think for us, it's going to continue to be a defensive team, a good goaltended team, but we need to execute better in the offensive zone, get more pucks to the net and in the back of the net.
I feel like what we struggled with in the final was being burnt out, but we have that depth this year, which we haven't had previously. We have a really strong import this year, Annie Fitzgerald, and I think that she has that capability as well as Lindsay and Nita and Courtney and all of our great forwards to push us over that line.
We've got really 4 good lines. So it's kind of, some teams rely on their top line or their top 2 lines, whereas I think our team, we've got a lot of depth. So we've got a lot of great players on our team.
Definitely very important. As you know, watching pretty much any professional team, whether that's NHL all the way down to amateurs, you don't get very far without depth. So I think that we've really got a good lineup on the forward side of things and now the defensive side of things. So I think that's going to really help us build.
How do you feel the addition of the new imports this year is going to help build the team as a whole?
Oh, it's massive. Not only does it push the girls on the ice to really come together and be better players, together, but also individually. It also really helps off the ice, team bonding and learning from the experiences from your imports overseas, where they've kind of played and what kind of experience they can draw on from big tournaments and things.
She's great, on and off the ice. So I think just having someone with that depth of skill and that experience really kind of makes everyone else raise their game and play a bit harder, I think, and learn from her as well. So I think import's always really great for the league in general. And I think we're really excited to have her.
Prediction for the season. Where do you see at the very end of the season, when your guys' season is all said and done, where do you see the Lightning?
Number one. Of course. There's no other option. We've got to win.
Oh, I definitely see us right back where we were last season and finishing the job that we started there.
So I don't want to sound too confident, but I like the look of a gold medal this season. I think it's going to be us battling the ice again this season. 100%.
Now, the last question: how important is it to you to bring a title to Brisbane?
It pretty much would mean everything. Yeah, I mean this team deserves it. They've put the work in. We've got a great group. I think with this core being together for as many years as we have, we should play our best hockey this year. And I think it would mean everything to the hockey community to bring the first championship to Brisbane and have it done in the Women's League. And it's the goal. It means everything.
Well, thank you, Lachlan, for another insightful report again this week. I'm sure me and the listeners cannot wait to hear what you have in store for us in a few weeks' time. Cannot wait to hear what that is going to be. Coming up soon, we're going to be talking about everything that occurred at the F1 Mexican GP, so stay around for that review. Right now, there you've got Lord with Team. That was Semi-Charmed Life by 3 Eye Blind. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is, it's 2:16 p.m. on Thursday, the 30th of October, and it's time to talk about F1 and move into the review of what took place at Mexico GP. Last week, we were talking all about what I thought, what was going to maybe occur in Mexico. And now it's time to kind of unpack everything that happened last round. And it was one unbelievable race. Sitting down to watch that, it was definitely one of the better races of the entire season. It was one that really kept you locked in. Even through everything, it was one of the better races of the season. I'll take a look at the session results. Practice 1 with a number of the main drivers stepping out. It was 9 in total, sitting out FP1 for rookies. We had Leclerc on top, Antonelli in second, and Nico Hülkenberg in third. And in practice 2, with everyone back in the cars, Verstappen was in P1, Leclerc in P2, and Kimi Antonelli in P3. And then to round out practice 3, you had Norris in first, Hamilton second, and George Russell in P3. And then into qualifying, it was an unbelievable qualifying, an unbelievable lap put Lando Norris on pole, Charles Leclerc in second, and Lewis Hamilton in third. Russell just ahead in fourth, Verstappen in fifth, and Kimi Antonelli in sixth. Piastri moves up to seventh with a penalty to Carlos Sainz. You got Isaac Hadjar in P8, Oliver Behrman in P9, and Tsunoda, another one of those beneficial drivers from the Carlos Sainz 5-second grid place penalty that he received from last race in COTA. The finishing order gave us something of just a bit of everything. Unfortunately, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hülkenberg, and Liam Lawson all unable to finish the race due to issues with their car. Unfortunate for all of those. Carlos Sainz had a tough race in P17. He had a issue with his speed limiter button, which caused him to receive 2 consecutive penalties, getting a 5-second and a drive-through, and it was uphill from there. Colapinto and Gasly, P16 and P15 respectively. The Alpines just kind of didn't have much in the way in the race, but got home in the end. Stroll in P14, Hadjar very unlucky with strategy in P13, Albon having a tough one but did get home for P12, Tsunoda very unlucky with that strategy call for Red Bull for him, leaving him in P11, Bortoleto picking up the last place points playing position in P10, and Ocon, brilliant race from him in P9, unfortunate for Lewis Hamilton is in P8. The 10-second time penalty really hurt him, and it did really feel like he didn't have the same pace and consistency after that race, so it's definitely tough for him. Russell, P7, another tough one for him. Kimi Antonelli finishing home just ahead of his teammate in P6. Piastri up to P5. championship drive from 9th to 5th. Very much could have been 4th if not for the VSC in the last lap. Behrman coming home in P4 for his career high finish. What an unbelievable drive from him. Verstappen, P3, great drive on that last stint. He probably maybe would have got Leclerc on the last couple laps as well with the VSC. And Norris ahead by 30 seconds. He was in a pretty cruise mode for pretty much the entire race. It was a pretty easy and comfortable one for Lando Norris. And Lando Norris, with that result, is now the new championship leader by just 1 point in it. Not a great weekend for Oscar, though only being 1 point behind. He's well and truly there. He's not out of it. That weekend hasn't just taken him out of the championship. He is still there. He's still fighting. And if he doesn't have a good result in Brazil, no doubt he'll be coming for that championship lead back again. Verstappen, even with P3, closes the gap to 36 points to Lando Norris, who's out in the lead. So he's 35 to Oscar. So he's well and truly, with 4 races to go plus the sprint, Verstappen is well and truly in that contention. Behrman, his career high position in P4 after he had the previous career high in the Ferrari in P7 when he subbed in for Carlos Sainz at Saudi last year, and double points playing position for Haas this weekend. They were one of them that I think really stood up. And mentioned it with Hamilton, but that penalty, not many of them are really going to agree on that 10-second time penalty. It just kind of felt a little bit undeserved, but it's just the way motorsport be sometimes. You're not always going to get those decisions to go your way. And now we'll look towards Interlagos at Sao Paulo in Brazil as the next one. It's a sprint weekend, and it's going to be interesting for Brazil, and just looking at it, I've got this funny feeling for Brazil that it's a strong Max Verstappen track nonetheless. But my kind of funny feeling going into Brazil is that it's not only going to be a good weekend for Max, I think it's going to be a good weekend for Oscar. And I unfortunately have that kind of feeling that maybe next round in Brazil, Lando Norris might DNF from Brazil. I got a funny feeling that maybe Lando is going to get bit too high on the confidence levels, and maybe something might happen in Brazil to, maybe just a touch bring down that level. But Brazil always brings a lot of excitement. Coming up soon, we'll be looking at the ARIA charts, the top 5 singles and albums in the Australian charts for music. But right now, you've got House of Pain with Jump Around. That was Starships by Nicki Minaj. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 2:30 p.m. We've still got a few things to talk about, one of them being the ARIA charts, the official record of the hottest singles and albums in Australia for our music. And every week we'll be taking a look at the top 5 singles and albums on the charts. And we've definitely seen a bit of a change last week from all Taylor Swift, and no doubt more changes is always coming on the charts. They very rarely stick the same week to week. Starting with the top 5 albums in the number 5 spot. It was last week's number 4 song. It's been high as number 1. It's 8 weeks in the charts. It's by Sabrina Carpenter, and it's Man's Best Friend. Number 4 in the charts this week was previously number 3. It's been as high as number 1, and it's 4 weeks in the chart. It's by the one and only Olivia Dean, and it's The Art of Loving. In the 3rd spot, it was previously last week number 2, so all moving down so far in the charts. It's been at number 1 before, and it's 18 weeks in the charts. It's K-pop Demon Hunters Soundtrack. And into number 2, its first week in the charts, it goes straight to number 2. It's Tame Impale with Deadbeat. Joining the charts, going straight to number 2 in the charts. Number 1, it was last week's number 1. It's staying at number 1 again, week number 3 in the charts. It's Taylor Swift with The Life of a Showgirl. So Taylor Swift holds on to the number one album again for 3 weeks in a row, and we see Deadbeat by Tame Impale join the charts and go straight to number 2, shuffling all the other previous 2, 3, and 4 down one spot. Now we're going to take a look at top 5 singles and give you a bit of an insight into the song if it's the first time you might have heard some of these ones. So we do have some changes in the top 5 singles. The one at number 5 this week, well and truly, pretty confident you'll all know what this one is. Last week it was number 11, so it makes a huge rise up 6 spots. It's been number 1 before, and you'll see exactly why. 37 weeks in the charts. It's Alex Warren with his song Ordinary. It's continued to rock the charts, and it's staying in the top 5 this week. For number 4, it's dropped 2 spots from last week. It was previously number 2. It spent all its time in the charts, which has been 3 weeks at number 2, and it's finally dropped a few spots. This one is by Taylor Swift, and it's Opalite. Now on to number 3. Last week it was number 3, and it's staying put at number 3. It's been as high as number 1, and it's enjoyed 17 weeks on the ARIA charts. This one is by Demon Hunters, and it's Golden. And now on to number 2, and the biggest mover as well this week. Previously number 4 last week, it's moved up to number 2, and has spent 10 weeks already in the charts as a pretty good effort so far. This one's by Olivia Dean, and it's Man I Need. And now on to number 1. Last week it sat at number 1, and it is not moving yet. It spent 3 weeks at the charts, and it rocketed up to number 1, and it is staying put for another week at least. This one, I'm sure you'll know it. The Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift holds on to not only the number 1 album on the charts, but holds on to number 1 spot in the singles, and still maintains 2 songs in the top 5 as well. So she is still at the top of the ARIA charts for all of us that listening to our music in Australia. Coming up soon, we're going to be finishing the final talk break with the Premier League Match Week number 9 review. The Premier League is really heating up, and we'll have all that for you coming up soon. But right now, it's Gracie Abrams, the star of the music world at the moment, and this is her song, Cedar. That was Crying in the Club by Camila Cabello. You're listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and it's 2:43 p.m, and it's time for the Premier League Match Week review, and this week it is week number 9 that we'll be reviewing, taking a look at the results and how the current table is sitting. So let's go through the match week number 9 results. Leeds 2-1 over West Ham, Sunderland 2-1 over Chelsea, Newcastle 2-1 over Fulham, Man United 4-2 over Brighton, Brentford 3-2 over Liverpool, Arsenal 1-0 over Crystal Palace, Aston Villa 1-0 over Man City, Bournemouth 2-0 over Nottingham Forest, Burnley 3-2 over Wolves, and Spurs 3-0 over Everton. Things are really shaping up at the top with Man City and Liverpool losing. It's really shaken up the top of the end of the table. So Arsenal are away in first with a 4-point lead now, 22 points. Bournemouth are up to second in 18. Man City in 17 points on third. Sunderland also Man City 17 on third. Man United are in fifth with 16. Sunderland fourth with 17. In seventh, you've got Liverpool with 15. Aston Villa 15 in eighth. Chelsea 14 points in ninth. Crystal Palace are in 10th with 13. Brentford 13 points in 11th. Newcastle 12th with 12 points. And Brighton 13th with 12 points. Everton on 11 points in 14th. Leeds are 11 points in 15th. Burnley are on 10 points in 16th. Fulham dropping to 17th with 8 points. And the bottom three is unchanged from last week. Nottingham Forest are on 5 points in 18th. West Ham 4 points in 19th, and Wolves in second with 2 points. 20th with 2 points. So 3-point gap from 17th to the bottom 3, and tough sailing for those three teams at the bottom. Arsenal really surging off a tough week for Man City and Liverpool being outside of the top 6, let alone anywhere else you could expect them to be out of. Can they bounce back with Arne Slot? It's going to be a tough one, but right now, Arsenal, it's all up Arsenal. And as an Arsenal fan, that makes me feel pretty dang good about the Premier League at the moment. We'll be looking at the coming weeks in a few weeks' time, and we'll hope that Arsenal and that can continue to build on, or will Liverpool bounce back. Coming up soon, I'll be concluding the show for you for today, but right now, this one's Macklemore and Ryan Lewis with their song Can't Hold Us. That was Hips Don't Lie by Shakira. You're listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown. The time is 2:55 p.m, so it's time to say goodbye. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. It was definitely an exciting one. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview that I much talked about coming into the show, and all else that I had for you today. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Unfortunately, not going to be with you on air next week, but I'll see you in 2 weeks' time, and I can't wait for that already. I'll have so much more for you there, and we'll keep you guys up to date, informed, and involved in all that's happening: sport, music, news, weather, and really everything that I can do. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend and the rest of your week, and I hope you guys enjoy Halloween for those who are going to be enjoying those festivities. And the song taking you guys out this week, it's by The Weeknd and Draft Punk. It's Starboy.